Senator Lindsey Graham prompted backlash after posting a disgusting jab aimed at climate activist Greta Thunberg, who is part of a flotilla seeking to bring aid to Gaza. The flotilla, which includes activists and aid workers, is attempting to deliver humanitarian supplies amid Israel's months-long blockade of Gaza. Before setting sail, Thunberg said, "The moment we stop trying is when we lose our humanity. No matter how dangerous this mission is, it's not even near as dangerous as the silence of the entire world in the face of the live-streamed genocide." Graham thought it would be funny to joke about her boat being attacked. Hope Greta and her friends can swim. We've got some of the responses. I mean, this is disgusting. Mehdi Hassan of Zeteo News said a sitting United States senator threatening a convoy full of nonviolent activists, including Greta Thunberg, with a bombing. It's difficult to describe how sociopathic, unhinged, and criminal some of the pro-Israel folks have become. Someone else said, why is a 69-year-old US senator joking about the drowning of a 22-year-old Swedish activist? Is this where American politics is now? Someone else added, why do American politicians speak like mobsters when it's about Palestine? Tyler Oakley said, in a good country, this kind of tweet would be disqualifying for public office. While it eased off the blockade slightly in May, UN agencies warn Gaza still teeters on the edge of famine. The Madeleine, the name of the ship, is expected to take a week to reach its destination, though the risk of interception runs high. Now, Trae, I want to bring you in here. What do you make of Lindsey Graham's comments? I mean, we've seen outrage from the right, including censuring certain members of Congress on the left for what I would argue is significantly tamer rhetoric around this conflict. Do you think Lindsey Graham will face any repercussions, any punishment whatsoever in Congress for this?
Well, I mean, no, definitely not. I mean, rules for thee and not for me is one of their central defining tenets, and everybody knows that at this point, or should. And it's, as Tyler Oakley sort of alluded to at the end of those tweets you read off, like that's one of the worst parts about the Trump era of American politics, in my opinion, is like the complete degradation of even a facade of decorum, you know, like for most of my life up until like 2016 and everything, the politicians on both sides in this country, they had to at least like pretend to have some class generally, like, you know, for the most part. Like it just, this type of thing, you wouldn't have seen this type of thing for most of my life in American politics. And they've been, you know, everybody knows also that Trump has emboldened some of the worst impulses and some of the worst types of people in this country. And also the whole Teflon Don thing, nothing ever sticks. At a certain point, they realize like, oh, you could do that and it'll be fine. And sometimes you'll be lauded for it. And then there's just no getting that genie back in the bottle, you know? So that's just what we have to deal with now. But yes, like you said, anytime if a Democrat shows up in the wrong color suit for a proceeding or whatever, they all lose their minds. So that's not going to change anytime soon either. It's just the world we live in right now.
Yeah. And we've seen comments like we're in our next block, we'll talk about Randy Fine. Some people might remember him, who called for nuking Gaza after the Israeli embassy shooting, completely unrelated to Gazans, to Palestinians. It had nothing to do with that. That's just someone who is malicious and bad. And then you have, people like Max Miller, who about a year ago, congressman from Ohio, said he wanted to turn Gaza into a parking lot because Palestine didn't exist. Those are like blatantly genocidal comments. And you have now Lindsey Graham singling out people, individual people, and peaceful activists. They pose no threat whatsoever. They're simply bringing aid because Israel will not allow a sufficient amount of aid in because they control the Gaza Strip, anything that goes in or out. All these people are trying to help people who are on the verge of starvation. And he's saying that they should be harmed, maybe killed. And there's a couple ways of looking at it here. Within it, I think is a tacit admission, yeah, Israel does bomb aid convoys. Despite their denials over the past year and a half, they do it. And now he's encouraging it. So all of these lies, oh, Israel doesn't bomb hospitals. Oh, Israel didn't bomb the World Central Kitchen, Jose Andres' foundation. Well, they didn't kill the aid workers. They didn't kill the Red Crescent workers. They didn't shoot at UN envoys who were doing a diplomatic tour. No. We didn't do any of that. Now hey, bringing aid in. Hope it doesn't get attacked. He's admitting it. Like that's what he's doing here. And then on the risks here, on the brink of famine, you're talking about over 1 million people who have already lost everything. And now they might starve to death. And these people are trying to do something with what little power and capacity they have just to alleviate it a little bit for a small amount of people. Because they're not going to be able to feed everybody. And he's objecting to even that. When you are so detached from the suffering of large groups of people simply because of their identity or where they live or their religion or their skin color, what kind of monster have you become? And there's a lot of criticism for Lindsey Graham, or going toward Lindsey Graham for being spineless, but the guy is just ultimately soulless. Like it feels like he enjoys that people in Gaza are suffering, because I can't, Trae, I can't think of any other scenario where you would object to any aid coming in whatsoever. What am I missing here about this? Or is this guy just the most evil person on earth?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of competition for that particular championship belt in this country alone. I don't know that I give it to Aunt Lindsay, but I mean, he's competes in it. But again, it's related to what I was saying earlier, but just about like general moral decay on the right, because it's like you said, they're just, whatever. If they're going to be on Israel's side in terms of the conflict and act like it's, more even-handed than it is, or even call it not a genocide and all that stuff, but like aid workers who are just trying to like bring food to non-combatants or whatever, there's no solid rationale for opposing that type of thing or those type of people, like, let alone calling for them to be drone striked or whatever. And it's and I do think another part of it is, it's Greta, like she just drives these people absolutely insane. She's one of the people, they cannot stand like a woman with an opinion, but especially when it was like a teenage girl when she first started 14 years ago, and like a foreign one. Oh man, she's just driven them up the wall the whole time. It's like AOC levels of hatred. Another woman with opinions, but they, so part of it is she just gets them frothing, angry in general. But I mean, yeah, anybody. This is one of those things where it's like I feel like at a certain point you would hope that any human being would stop and realize to themselves like, oh wait, I'm saying that humanitarian aid workers should have their boat exploded. Does that make me the bad guy? Like you think that would occur to you at some point? But it doesn't. They see nothing wrong with it somehow. I'm sure he would just say it's like, oh, I was just messing around or whatever. But it's pretty alarming.